Welcome. I greet you in the love and the light of the one infinite creator. We're continuing to read from Freedom from Government, Acting with Honor and as King. We left off last time here as King, so this is where we get started. As King. How does a king act? He acts with honor. He tells the truth. He does not commit fraud. He knows to ask questions. And you actually can't quite tell what it is about him, but he commands respect. When you begin to act as a king, you will be doing the as king. You can either spend your time or spin your gears trying to make people pay for the wrongs they did to you, or you can find out how they legitimize their action to begin with and nip it as soon as possible when dealing with them. Public officers have strict procedures that they must follow. Asking questions and using non-rebuttables really puts a kink in their procedures. You see, they need to get you to testify against yourself. And if you never give them any information, they won't be able to follow procedure. They will probably call a supervisor and try again to get you to admit to being the name with all kinds of tricks. But don't fall for it. If you do it right, the chances that they will just leave you alone are 99.9%. If you deal with them in question form, the chances are that they will just go away. Guess what? This works with just about any kind of interaction in your life. Bullies, security guards, bouncers, bill collectors, attorneys, judges, probation officers, even bums on the street, and trolls on the internet. So once you get some practice, you will be absolutely unstoppable. Try it starting today. Just ask questions. It is like a tennis game. The ball goes back and forth. Whoever misses the ball loses the point. Keep the ball in the air, like when Neo avoids the bullets for the first time in The Matrix, and the Trinity asks, "How did you do that?" "You moved just like they did." And Neo says that he obviously didn't move fast enough because he got grazed by one of the bullets. If the judge is blasting you with questions, you have to move like they do and come right back with more questions. It is easy to get sidetracked. The judge will ask a bunch of really simple questions to try and get you to slip up. You have to stay on your toes and be quick on your feet to keep up. The best way to handle court is to take care of it before the date on the ticket. My motto is, never go to court unless you are the plaintiff. It can all be handled through mail and email and the phone. People on death row file pleadings from their cells every day. I realize that at some point you may end up having to go to court one way or another. And when you do, they will put on the pressure and distract you with something like, "I am about to charge you with contempt." And then ask a quick question like, "How old are you?" with a simple question that you are likely in the habit of just rattling off a number to try and get you into their jurisdiction. Or the judge may ask something like, "Where were you born?" And you might ask if it is required for me to answer that question. And the judge could reply with, "That's your answer," just to try and throw you off. Do not ever answer yes or no. If you ever get caught up in that kind of trap, and you find that they have moved from the name to another matter, it is time to ask if you have made a mistake and you would like to please be forgiven. Keep in mind, too, that you don't have to answer immediately. You can always take a second or two and take a deep breath and think of a good question to respond with. So just because the judge is on rapid fire doesn't mean you have to answer as fast as the shells are being fired at you. Judges and lawyers are taught to deflect also, usually answering with a non-answer or question. They will sound like they are answering a question, but they are really just throwing you a curveball. For example, when you are asking the question like, "Would you agree that I am not required to testify against myself?" they will deflect with something like, "Everyone has that right," instead of answering the question as it pertains to your situation individually. You can do all the preparation you want, but there is no situation for actual experience under pressure with your freedom on the line. When you get in there, it becomes very real and you forget everything. But when you have finally opened that door and faced the fear, you are going to be introduced into another world. You will see the world that you have never seen before, because the fear always stopped you. The fear keeps you blind, but once you lose the fear, there is great reward that comes with your new world. You might not get it on the first try, but keep working at it, and you will learn from your mistakes and get better. With the fear gone, none of it will be real anymore. It will be like at the end of the first Matrix movie when Neo stops the bullet and sees the green stripes of code that the Matrix is made up of. Not real. Unreal. And make sure that if you do end up going to jail, use it as a learning experience and respond as king while you are there. And you won't be there for long anyways. Plus, the jail staff will love you even more for practicing on them. If you do it right, they have to give you a way out. If you pass all the tests, do you think they are going to keep testing you? Of course, they are going to throw everything they've got at you. But once you know how to ask the appropriate questions, it will all be ineffective. Judges are not bad. You just have to be honorable. Treat them with respect, and you will receive it in return. If you can stay honorable and on point, they will actually protect you. Look at it from the judge's point of view. They see these idiots all day long, and nobody gets it. It will be a pleasure for the judge to finally have someone that is honorable in front of them. Here are a bunch of sample questions to get started with. How can I help you resolve the situation? Is that required? Am I required to do that? Why? Do you have any evidence that I need to be here? Is there an injured party? How can I be of assistance? What can I do to help? Am I required to have a license, insurance, registration, permit? Will you be using any information and or documents that I provide against me in a court of law? Who am I to be making any claims? Have I made any claims? What does this have to do with me? Would that help settle the matter? Do I understand? Did I ever say I understood? Who are you asking? What are you asking? Why are you asking? Does who understand? Who is you? Am I a name? Has there been a mistake? Would you tell me if I made a mistake? Isn't the name a fiction? How could I be a name? Do you want me to admit of being a name? How could I be a piece of paper? Am I a piece of paper? Does paper talk? Is that hearsay? Did I hear you correctly? How can I be sure? How can I answer that? How may I assist the court? Who is being prosecuted? Who is the name? What is the name? Is the name a fiction? Do I look like a fiction? Who has to enter a plea? Why do I have to enter a plea? How am I supposed to know what to do? What would you do? Why do I have to be here? Can you tell me? How can I be honorable? Am I being honorable? Is an answer required? How can I answer? Are you a name? Or do you have a name? Why do you need me to say that name? Why would I need to file or fill out paper? Are you the state, the injured party? Can I question the state? What factually is a state? Does it even exist? Are we done yet? Can I go home? Why would I sign that? What does it mean to swear an oath? Am I expected to know all of the laws, statutes, policies, procedures? What does it mean to be charged? What is a charge? How is that applicable to me? Who said so? Is that true? Would you lie to me? How am I responsible? How could I be responsible? How could I be of help? How can I honorably settle this matter? Do you have any other questions? The judge probably knows the deal, but everyone else under him is bound by procedure. So you deal with the lower heads on the totem pole on their own procedure.
They
must have positive ID. They will ask for your name, and you can tell them that you believe that you use the name, but you do not own it. Can you prove I own anything? You don't have to answer questions. Use another question. But for questions like what is the address, and not your address or my address, you don't own anything, remember? If they ever try to tell you that you cannot do something, or that your argument has no merit, or your motion is denied without any grounds, get it in writing. The only way to put their hearsay game to bed is to make them put everything that they tell you in writing. No exceptions. If they want to BS you, have them present it to you in a fashion that is admissible as evidence against them for official misconduct. So this brings me to another topic, dealing with public servants. And this is when you cannot think of an appropriate question to answer with, and or you get stuck having to make a statement. Always use a non-rebuttable. Do not testify against yourself. A non-rebuttable statement that rebuts a claim made, but the statement itself is non-rebuttable. Some examples of this are, I think, I believe, it is my opinion that, it appears to be. These are non-rebuttable because who is anyone to tell you how you think, what you believe, what your opinion is, or what things appear to you as. For instance, if you were to say something like, the car is red, that statement is definitely rebuttable. All someone has to do is say, no, it isn't, it's crimson. But if you say, that car appears to be red, absolutely no one will be able to rebut you. If you ever get past the issue of the name, you must ask I believe there must be a mistake. If I have offended anyone here, will you forgive me? Or has there been a mistake? If I have offended anyone here, can I be forgiven? You must not be silent. Silent can only be equated with fraud where there is an illegal or moral duty to speak, or where an inquiry left unanswered would be intentionally misleading. This sort of deception will not be tolerated, and if this is the routine, it should be corrected immediately. U.S. versus Tweel, 550 F 2D 297. Be the little child and ask questions, and be sure to stay on point. Even if you don't do well at first, you will get better with time, practice, and experience. Keep trying, and you will get it. What about filing an affidavit or motion in your case? I know that you would feel better filing some papers into the court, but why would you do that if once it is on paper, it is hearsay? Plus, if you file paperwork, don't you think that might be a way to ask you more questions about the tangible evidence you have filed, or even subject it to interpretation? And then you go to court and they ask you questions about it, and you have to answer. It isn't a good idea. Don't sign anything else. You can swear an oath if you want. Just don't make any statements. And only swear to the statements, which are really questions you are to provide are truthful, but not rebuttable. Conclusion. Essentially, being free starts inside you. I accept information from all sources and then make my own conclusion. I do not let closely held beliefs cloud my judgment and bias my actions. I do not let fear corrupt my decision-making. I rechannel it into courage to do the right thing, regardless of what I am told. We all know the difference between right and wrong. The important thing is to make the right choice, and if you don't, you face the consequences and take responsibility. Even if it was a mistake or an accident, making it right is the honorable thing to do. Taking responsibility does not necessarily mean entering a plea of guilty either. It means making amends to the injured party. Be the master, not the servant. When you go to court, it will be like judge against judge, except you don't have the burden of proof, so you have got it made. Just remember to practice asking questions and stay honorable. Then when you need to, you will be able to call upon your impenetrable shield of love and deflect everything that is making an attempt to harm you. It is the inner work that makes all the difference. All right, we reached the end. We're going to stop it there, and I will also post these traffic stop scripts as well later on. Probably not right away, but soon. But I hope you guys enjoyed this and you learned a lot. And now you can go out and be free men, honorable, and be the king of your life. So I'm going to say goodbye. I leave you in the love and the light of the infinite creator. Peace.